Good afternoon, FGA seniors, students, faculty, staff, and loved ones. For those who I haven't met or had the privilege of meeting in person, my name is Justin Talkington, and I am the proud Director of Global Community here at Fusion Global Academy. Welcome to the first of many virtual graduation celebrations at our amazingly unique school. Today's ceremony honors our seniors, soon-to-be graduates, for successfully crushing their first and sadly only year at FGA. I've held the vision dear to my heart since our very first day of school last fall, that we are only a global community if we joyously celebrate the individuals who live and thrive in our global neighborhood. Today, we plan to do exactly that. Celebrate the brilliance, creativity, authenticity, and accomplishments of the 15 members of Fusion Global Academy's class of 2021. To launch us into this momentous day together, I would like to invite President of Fusion Global Academy, Darby Carr, to join us on the virtual stage.
Thank you, Justin. Welcome, graduates, friends, family, and staff. It's an honor to be part of this celebration. The 2021 graduation celebration at Fusion Global Academy. Parents and families, thank you so much for trusting us in the education of your children. They have been a joy to have as part of our family. Students, the resilience you've shown over this last year in the face of a global pandemic is just nothing short of amazing. And as Justin said, you are the class of 2021. We're so proud of the people you've grown into, and I am so confident that the best is yet to come. So remember, this is your day. Congratulations to the soon-to-be first alumni of the Fusion Global Academy. So let's get this graduation ceremony underway. It's my pleasure to introduce our Assistant Director, Cassandra Rusi, who's going to lead our procession with our seniors.
Thank you, Darby. First, I would like to congratulate Fusion Global Academy's first graduating class. This is a huge accomplishment. The entire FGA staff is so proud of this diverse, talented, and dedicated group of students. The young adults we're honoring today have demonstrated determination, academic achievement, and personal growth. It is my great pleasure to introduce Fusion Global Academy's class of 2021. Matthew Byrne, Joshua Chen, Maddie Lewis, Becca O'Reilly, Abby Pagert, Jack Bell, Daniel Veller, Gavin Brent, Miles Douglas, Noah LaFleur, Akira Stein, Miles Revenoff, Cayetano Rojas, Jackson Rivera, Corinne Grandison. Graduates, this is your celebration. We are so excited to recognize all that you've accomplished, and we know that there are many more great things for you ahead. To continue our celebration, I'd like to introduce Audrey Wall, Fusion Global Academy's head of school, to share a message of inspiration with you. Audrey?
Thanks, Cassandra. I can't believe I have to go after that video. Oh, I'm so proud of each of our graduates here today. And I want to take a few minutes to greet you. Good afternoon, families, friends, staff, teachers, neighbors, and especially our graduating class of 2021. Graduation season is one of my favorite times of the year. For me, It's a time of excitement, reflection, and new beginnings, even if I'm not the graduate. C.S. Lewis once said, "You're never too old to dream a new dream." Well, I want to encourage you today to do just that. Dream a new dream with me today. Here at FGA, we are inspired by our students every day and strive to embody our teaching philosophy of love, motivate, teach in all of our interactions. Today's ceremony is designed to mirror these very same attributes. We will have a time of reflection, an opportunity to celebrate the relationships our students have forged with their teachers, and a time to celebrate individually with our loved ones during our medallion ceremony. Before we get to the best parts of our time together today, it's important to take a moment and acknowledge the moments that mark the passage of time in our lives. After all, our lives are made up of moments, right? One way that we mark the passage of time is through pictures. I have no doubt that you have lots of pictures, and we've just seen some great pictures of our graduates scroll through their screens today. Pictures remind us of moments in time. Pictures give us a glimpse of ourselves, a chance to see how others see us. Like our memories and experiences, we make judgments about ourselves by gazing at our likeness in pictures. What do you see when you look at pictures of yourself? I would like to invoke the wise words of modern-day philosopher, singer-songwriter Kesha. I love her rendition of "This Is Me" from The Greatest Showman. The lyrics are powerful. If you're not familiar with this song, a couple of my favorite lines are, "I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be, this is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies, this is me." Kesha's words are powerful. I want them to be a catalyst as you dream your new dream today. Before we turn the page, or should I say tassel in this case, I want you to be reminded of 3 takeaways from your experiences at Fusion Global Academy this year. Perhaps the most important takeaway is this: you will take you, all of you, wherever you go. So the first thing I want you to reflect on today is get real with yourself. You have learned so much about yourself at Fusion. You've learned if you're a self-starter, a procrastinator, or need reminders to stay on track. You've learned how you learn best. Do you learn best by listening or by doing? What are you working on? What can you work about on yourself that will help you build your future you? Remember, you are taking you into this next chapter, so make sure you know yourself. The second thing I'd like you to reflect on today is it's time to get rid of the things that hold you back. Is there a habit you should kick? A friend you should move on from? Or do you have a mindset that tears you down instead of builds you up? Now is the time to change. When asked how they became rich, millionaires often note they befriended millionaires. They imitated their habits and made similar goals. Before long, they were millionaires. Be kind to your future self and act right now. Give you a fighting chance. The people you hang around will influence the you are becoming. Finally, I want you to remember that you have a purpose. It's no accident that you are living right now in this space, in this time, in that neighborhood where you are. You were literally made for this moment. Be brave. Pursue your dreams with all your heart. Everything you have experienced, learned, read, and thought up until now has been leading you to this moment. Don't be afraid to knock down those doors. Climb through the window if you have to achieve your dream. Don't forget to hold that door wide open for the person coming behind you. You are valuable and powerful, and you matter. My final word of advice to you is simple. Be kind to your future self and act right now. Go after those dreams and dream big. As we close, let's commemorate our time together today. We easily capture moments on our cell phone's camera roll today. Like most people, you probably have pictures of your breakfast, an interesting meme you saw on the internet, and a series of selfies. Who am I kidding? I have all these snapshots on my phone too. Do me a favor right now. Take out your phone, click on the camera, and take your best selfie. We don't have to wait for the golden hour. It doesn't have to have a cool filter. It just needs to be a picture of right now. When you know you've gotten the best shot, caption the photo with these 3 thoughts. You will take you everywhere you go. So be kind to yourself by being honest. Empower yourself by getting rid of negative influences. This one, you might have to repeat more than once. And always be brave and pursue your passion. In the words of Kesha, you are glorious. You are a warrior, and you are who you are. Look out, world, because here you come. At this time, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Lauren Locke, our Assistant Director of Student Life. Lauren will be introducing our student speakers today. Take it away, Lauren.
Thank you, Audrey. Our first senior speech will be given by Jack Bell from Wake Forest, North Carolina. When I first met Jack, I was immediately impressed by his highly intellectual conversation and entrepreneurship. During his time at FGA, Jack took the role of student lead for our Dungeons and Dragons Club and played a large role in our Global Cleanup Day. Welcome to the virtual stage, Jack Bell.
Thanks, Lauren. 4 years that seem more like decades ago, I concluded my 8th grade graduation speech with a question addressed to my class. What legacy of yours will remain? 4 years later, I can begin to answer this question. As a student who's always been very engaged and motivated, the answer is a lot. In the 8th grade, I started a recycling program in my middle school. In 9th grade, I student directed a musical and assistant coach a cross-country team. In sophomore year, I went to States as a robotics captain and acted in 3 roles in the same musical. In junior year, COVID-19 hit. My old high school offered an in-person option, which my parents and I opted for, as they assured us that masking would be enforced and social distancing would be mandated. Sadly, we quickly realized that these be worn correctly, and social distancing meant 6 inches rather than 6 feet. So all this meant we instead had to choose my old school's online option, which for them was merely an annoying add-on. Technical issues, even those as serious as non-functioning virtual whiteboards, long audio cutouts, long frozen screens, and outright dropped connections, were ignored by teachers, despite the futile arm-waving, frantic mashing of the raise hand button, and sad and desperate chat messages sent by online students. Not only were teachers not responsive to online students during class, but responded to individual emails with generic responses, sending students to search for answers on YouTube, if they bothered to respond at all. Ignored by teachers and cut off from in-person peers, online students were also cut off from one another. Not only was collaboration discouraged, it was prohibited. Students were not allowed to form study groups, take group notes, or share group study guides. So I was left aimlessly wandering alone. My concerned parents watched as isolation and alienation became disengagement and apathy. By January, spiraling into a place of deep depression, I had lost what little interest I had left in school. My parents, alarmed and upset by the changes in me, searched desperately for a lifeline and found it when a family friend, whose daughter had been in a comparable situation, recommended Fusion. I know I'm not alone here when I say I will always be grateful to my parents for taking that risk and allowing me to attend FGA. A place where I feel not only supported and wanted, but also engaged and interested. The revolutionary learning model in Play at Fusion puts the focus on the student rather than the content. In the company of my teachers and through collaborative energy generated between us, we boldly wandered among ideas, forging the path of clarity. By being taught the class using the narrative thread of my interest in the subject, not only was I able to develop a deeper understanding of the material, but I was also able to think critically about the subject matter to form my own informed beliefs about matters prescient to our world and my specific interests. Want to read the Poetic Edda, a source text on Norse mythology? Let's do it. Want to learn how to compose in the same style as many fantasy composers? Let's learn that. Want to undergo a rhetorical analysis on key debates in American political history? Let's research it. Want to learn a specific C++ API? Let's find a teacher who knows it. Not only did Fusion's revolutionary learning model reinvigorate my love of learning, but their focus on the student and the student's needs armed me with the fortitude, affirmation, and determination to climb back up the spiral I've fallen down and regain the vibrancy and joviality that define who I truly am. By allowing me to engage in thought-provoking material and concepts one-on-one with my teachers, this innovative model has also better prepared me for college with the knowledge and skills that I can use to talk with my professors and ask them questions. With all this preparation, I am ready to boldly wander ahead into the next chapter of my life. For, as Tolkien best put it, not all those who wander are lost. But to give that quote about Aragorn, son of Arathorn, some more context, all that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be the blade that was broken, the crownless again shall be king. My fellow FGA graduates, please join me in giving thanks to our parents whose love, encouragement, and wisdom got us to where we are today. Thank you.
Jack, thank you for the wonderful words and wisdom as always. Our next senior speech comes from Noah LaFleur from San Antonio, Texas. Noah inspires us through songs and stories at our open mics, events, and has shown excellent leadership in the gaming club. It was such a joy to watch Noah compete in both the FGA Amazing Race and Epic Survivor challenges during his senior year. I have no doubt that the future is extremely bright for this thoughtful and talented soul. Welcome, Noah LaFleur.
Thank you, Lauren. I'd like to start off by denying the fact that I am graduating. My reasoning behind this is that if I say it enough times, maybe it will be true. And I want it to be true because when I graduate, I will have to leave FGA. I don't want to leave. This school is so different from anywhere else I've been, and I'm so glad for it. This school year has been the best that it ever could have been, and that is entirely thanks to all of you, the faculty and staff that make Fusion Global Academy what it is. When I started, I'll admit, I wasn't the most psyched. I spent the first 12 years of my education at one school, and I thought I was going to graduate there. Considering I'm here right now, I wasn't right. In my sophomore year of high school, I ended up going into inpatient treatment, and I stayed there for quite some time. I know I'm not the only student at FGA who has a story like this one. I've always loved learning, but while I was there, that changed because the school just wasn't my speed. There wasn't room for customization or getting to know and help each student individually, despite having small classes. I hate to say it, but I was bored for the first time in my life at school. When I came to FGA, I was worried it would be the same. I would be in boring classes where teachers clung only to their syllabuses, except I was going to be the only student present, so I wouldn't be able to disappear into my own little world for the whole time. I thought it was going to be a drag. I couldn't have been more wrong. From the moment I went to the GHC for the first time, I was greeted with energy, brightness, humor, and fun. The students wanted to get to know me, and more importantly, the faculty did. My first day, I went to a trivia event in the Global Homework Cafe. I felt so welcomed, and I hadn't even been to a single class yet. When I did start going to classes, I was even more delighted. My teachers met me where I was, even though sometimes it meant they had to work a little harder. I'd like to formally apologize to John Geiling, my Spanish teacher, who ended up having to rewrite most of our curriculum as we went. Sorry, John. When I saw in my English portal we were starting with Beowulf, which I've read several times, I showed up to class with the homework done already. When Karen Graham asked why, I told her, and she laughed. Let's just skip it then. No point in doing it again. Have you read Paradise Lost? I was shocked. We could just skip something I'd already done? No more learning the same thing 4 times in a row and doodling in the margins of the textbook? I was ecstatic. Each and every class I was in just made the experience better and better. I was learning what I wanted to learn at the level that was suited exactly for me. And in some cases, I was learning what I needed to learn, like in my math class with Audrey Tam. When I was in treatment, I had several big gaps in my math learning. I was by no means bad at math, which is why nobody noticed. I could take on complex theories and imaginary numbers like nobody's business. How could I be struggling in math? But Audrey noticed. She took the time to go back with me through things like how to factor a polynomial and never once made me feel stupid or dumb like I had in previous schools when I had admitted I didn't know something. She even taught me some non-textbook ways to do the thing I needed to do. Those often avoided in typical schools because although they're faster, they're a little more complex and harder to check. What's more, Audrey got excited when I brought new ideas and topics to class. She let me ramble about my favorite mathematician, Weihart, favorite modern mathematician anyways. Pythagoras will always have my heart, and found ways to tie it back to class. When I found a more efficient way to simplify equations, she let me show her and encouraged me to use it. That's right, a math teacher encouraged me to do it my way. Every story I've told has parallels in every classroom because all of you are so amazing. But I will mention one more, Daniel Zalecki, who taught me government and economics. Well, I think Daniel and I would both agree that taught is a strong word. Our classes were all discussion-based, and we learned from each other. Any rabbit hole I wanted to go down, he not only let me, but followed me down and helped me expand and connect it back to other things. If I wanted to talk about the revolution of robots and AI in relation to Westworld and modern day technology, which I very much did, then so be it. My homework, as we called it, would be to watch an episode of the show and write about my thoughts on it. If I was having trouble focusing, we would take class in the Minecraft, and I would get to experience firsthand getting swindled by the authoritarian government showcased in 1984. Class was the highlight of my week, and I never wanted it to end. Perhaps more importantly, though, were Daniel and I's conversations about being twice exceptional, or 2E. Being 2E means that I have a learning difficulty, but I'm classified as gifted. It's called twice exceptional because I have to work hard to get to an average level, and then twice as hard to get up to a gifted level. Through Daniel's amazing mentorship, I learned how to work with my twice exceptionality, not against it. Daniel's too humble to admit it, I know, because I've tried to thank him before, but since he can't stop me now, I'll say it again. Thank you, Daniel. You've helped me in ways I can't describe, and I'm grateful, whether you like it or not. So there. To take a suggested line from Justin, here's what I advise you continue doing the next year without me, besides crying every day because I won't be there. Keep teaching your students, not just a student. Get to know them, find out what they're passionate about, and help them run with it. Nurture their creativity. Don't be afraid to try new ways to teach. Don't be afraid to learn just as much as they do. Ask questions, bring your passion. Teach them how amazing it can be to learn, because by the time we come to FGA, many of us have forgotten. Let them see you as the human you are and see them as the human they are. Help them feel confident again. Celebrate the tiniest of steps, because they may look small, but they feel huge. Remember that some of them will spend their whole lives believing something is wrong with the way they learn, that they're just not smart, that they just can't. Everybody is smart, but we're not all smart in the same ways. Help them discover what kind of smart they are. Help turn their weaknesses into strengths and make their strengths even stronger. Answer their questions, or better yet, help them find the answers on their own. Help them to find the spark inside them that they may believe died out long ago. Help them kindle it and blow the flame back to life. Help them to be the person they want to be. The learning will come alongside it, I guarantee. Thank you, each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart, for everything you have done for me, for my fellow seniors, and for the student body as a whole. It means more than I'm able to put into words, but I hope I've done it some justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. I think I probably speak for many, many people on the call right now that we had goosebumps and giggles throughout your speech. That was amazing. To conclude our senior speeches, we welcome Maddie Lewis to the virtual stage. Maddie is our editor-in-chief in the first FGA yearbook and has taken on leadership roles in the Fashion Club this year. Maddie hails from Livingston Manor, New York, and provides us with a smile each time we see her. Without further ado, Maddie Lewis.
Thank you, Lauren. To the senior class, congratulations, we did it. Today marks the accomplishment of a major milestone and the beginning of a new one. While the strangest of years has brought us together, many of us are truly strangers, not having gotten a chance to meet in person. But through the yearbook and putting together your senior pages, I've gotten a peek into your lives and interests and feel I've come to know something unique about each of you. Though our time at FGA has been special, I think I speak for all of us when I say how happy I am that high school has come to an end. I am grateful for the things I have learned, people I have met along the way, and the memories I have made these past 4 years. However, high school has been a bit of a roller coaster, full of ups and downs, and I'm finally ready to get off and hop on another ride. The final countdown of these past few weeks have been the most exhausting of my high school career. It wasn't the amount of class time or the amount of homework that contributed to the exhaustion, but the fact that it is the end of 4 years that have been filled with excitement, stress, growth, all-nighters, new friends, and a whirlwind of different emotions. Despite all of this, or perhaps because of it, I'm excited about and ready for what the future has in store, but I am also nervous. What I have had throughout this year has been truly unique. Working and learning from home and zooming into classes at Fusion Global has been comfortable. While the pandemic has made me a more resilient person, it definitely made me become more of an introvert. So this transition of stepping out of my comfort zone may be more difficult. If the pandemic has taught us anything this year, it is that we can thrive under difficult circumstances. I remember at the very beginning, I thought it would be over in a week and we would be back to our original lives, but that week never came to an end. There's been so much uncertainty throughout our senior year, and yet here we are, graduating from high school. We are a generation of overcomers. This may not be your typical walk down the aisle, but as of today, we are high school graduates, and with that comes incredible new opportunities. Who each of us were freshman year and who each of us are today are two completely different people. I look back on myself 4 years ago and question a lot of the decisions I made. I think about how if just one thing had gone differently, how would that have impacted where I am now? Everyone has regrets. I have regrets. And while I wish some things had gone differently, there are others that I am happy exist in my life, and they wouldn't exist had I made one different decision. The lesson I learned is everything happens for a reason, and we are exactly where we are supposed to be because of the decisions we have made. I encourage you, the class of 2021, to look at this past year and smile. We've learned so much both in class and out. We as a class have made it through something truly unique. Though we aren't together in person, we experienced it together in a way no one else has or ever will again. Together, we made it to this special day, and for that, I am incredibly grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Love that word, overcomers, for our graduates. That is really special. Thank you, Maddie, Noah, and Jack, for speaking to our global guardians, teachers and staff, and our student body. We're so proud of your accomplishments and presence as members of the first Fusion Global Academy graduating class. I'm now proud to introduce Tiffany Snyder, our Director of Virtual Learning, who will be guiding seniors and their families through the Global Medallion Ceremony.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you too to our student speakers, Jack, Noah, and Maddie. How very powerful. Thank you. I'm so honored to be a part of this very special day. And I have the distinct pleasure of leading the FGA class of 2021 through the inaugural Fusion Medallion Ceremony. Families, please hold on to your child's medallion until we are ready to place them all together. When I think about traditions, I often think about actions or events that may have a very long history, like fireworks on the 4th of July to commemorate our nation's birth, or perhaps enjoying the same type of cake that you've had for years on your birthday, or time at home around our family's Christmas tree, watching our children frantically search for that tiny green glass pickle ornament, or even just a simple phrase spoken at the end of each day to wish someone a restful night of sleep. I'm sure that in my lifetime I've been a part of a new tradition, but the ones that are most ingrained in me are those rooted in a shared history with others. Today, as the Fusion Global Academy class of 2021, our Fusion Medallion Ceremony stands at the intersection of a rich symbolic tradition along with our school's new graduation tradition. Take a moment to ponder the gift to be both a part of a long line of Fusionite graduates, but at the same time be the very first part of the very first class of Fusion Global Academy. The Fusion Mosaic is to our Fusion family as the swoosh is to Nike or the mermaid is to Starbucks. Some of you may recognize it from the student portal, Global Neighborhood, or even the FGA website. But perhaps you haven't stopped to think about how it represents FGA and the intentionality of using it as a symbol of who we are and what we believe to be true of our global community. Here's the definition of what we at Fusion would use to describe the mosaic. Our mosaic is a powerful visual representation of our community, a collage of distinctive, creative, irreplaceable, and irrepressible elements that form a one-of-a-kind school where everyone can flourish. Hear that again, but from my perspective, as a part of your high school graduation today. You are an integral part of our community. You are distinctive, creative, irreplaceable, and irrepressible. You are a one-of-a-kind person whose presence makes the FGA mosaic so very special. So let's start our Fusion Global Academy tradition of presenting our FGA graduates with their medallions. As families place the medallions on their graduates, we will have the pleasure of listening to Jay Hassler, one of FGA's very own teachers, perform a musical tribute that he composed just for you for today, for the very first graduation at Fusion Global Academy. Jay, I welcome you to the virtual stage. Families, enjoy your medallion ceremony.
Amazing. Such an incredibly moving piece. As a fun fact, Jay originally composed portions of this magnificent piece as a high school student and returned to it now years later to alter each moment with his years of life experience as a tribute to the FGA class of 2021. Thank you so much, Jay. For anyone who is wanting to direct download Jay's original piece titled Moment, it will be available in the FGA Global Neighborhood and on the FGA YouTube page next week, so subscribe today. Moving on to a truly special portion of the ceremony, we will be hearing from some of our own FGA teacher mentors who will share a message with a senior they had the privilege of connecting with this year. Our first senior is Canadian aviation rock star Matthew Byrne, with a speech presented by mentor Scott Legele.
Hi, everybody. Oh, there's Matt. Hey, everybody. My name is Scott Legele, and I'm a social studies teacher at Fusion. I had the honor of working with Matthew Byrne this year in a philosophy course. I say working with as opposed to teaching, because throughout the year, Matt taught me so much. It felt like we were coworkers in a think tank more than a student and teacher in a classroom. I always told Matt how impressive he was as a person, in and out of the classroom. As we would check in after a weekend, he would always downplay the ambitious things he would do. He would start by saying he didn't do much over the weekend, and I would push him to think of at least one thing that he did do to share. He would respond with something like, well, I did do some solo flying for my flight school, you know, where I was alone in the plane. Yeah, I completed 2 takeoffs and landings all by myself this weekend, but you know, it was pretty good condition. Then I would smile and say, oh man, come on, that is so cool. You're becoming a pilot and acting all casual. You're just such an impressive person, let alone a young adult. Throughout our studies, we have read many excerpts from philosophers, and Matt is always so quick to reflect and build them into his psyche. This incredible ability allows him to gain wisdom at a rate that most only dream of. He often comes to complex conclusions to which all I can do is smile and say, wow, that's a really good point. Huh, I never thought of it that way. Wow, nice one. So as a teacher, I try and facilitate and ask good questions. And with Matt, my job's really easy. I just get him going, I add some different sources in, and boom, the conversation's off to the races. And soon enough, the beginning of a groundbreaking paper or project is upon us. It's just really such a fun class. And I often go over time just out of sheer interest in what we're doing. And over this year, I've seen Matt grow so much as a person. This trend of intellectual growth is going to take Matt to incredible places. He is truly an inspired human being. One of our last unit's guiding questions is, are humankind's best days ahead of us or behind us? And this interesting question has led us to so many deep conversations about the human condition and planet Earth. One thing I kept thinking was that if every human had a certain mindset about life, the question would be easier to answer. But humans are diverse and sometimes unpredictable. But if every human was like Matt, dedicated, empathetic, grounded in a unique set of ethical guidelines for his life, well, humankind's best days would, without a doubt, be ahead of us. Matt is a complex and ambitious young man. He's dedicated to so many goals and always seems to be pushing himself to improve. From his workout routine, which would crush any one of us, to his poetic prose that can invoke complex emotions, Matt is a man of many talents. However, he's not one to brag. He always makes sure to ask me about my weekend and balance out our conversation. He's humble, he's kind, and he's the epitome of a peaceful warrior. As we all venture into the future, let's stay dedicated to our goals, stick to our ethical guidelines, and be humble. Let's be peaceful warriors, strong and kind. Let's be like Matt. Happy graduation, Matt. And to all you other seniors, the future is bright knowing that all of you are out there. Thanks. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. I just had flashbacks to our epic Survivor event this spring where Scott and Matthew teamed up as the orange orangutans to crush the competition on our fictional Mosaic Island. It was something fierce. These two are next level. Next, we would like to present anime guru and musical legend in the making, Joshua Chen, with a speech presented by mentor Melissa Spretz.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Spretz, and I am a English and life skills teacher, and I'm going to address this directly to Josh, who I got to know very well this year, and just say what's on my heart. Well, Josh, you did it. You have conquered this one of many milestones in your life, and you're graduating high school. Let me be the first of many to say congratulations, and yet I am not surprised in the very least. Proud beyond measure, just like your parents, family, friends, and other teachers, but not surprised. I started my journey in getting to know you in life skills and continued in Anime Club, and it hasn't stopped. I've seen you demonstrate tremendous effort and growth and bring a great energy and willingness to learn. You are easily one of the most intelligent and compassionate students I've ever had the pleasure of working with and learning from. You build your own computers. You create edits for YouTube that speak volumes about events most people don't know about to spread knowledge and stop hatred and ignorance. You write analyses of things you see happening around you, and you've barely tapped in to all that life holds for you. You have that combination of a positive attitude and belief that you can always improve that's rare in a person your age, but also so essential to personal and professional success, however you yourself defined it. You are a hardworking, creative, and resilient young man who rises above any challenge you set for yourself. And I know you will continue to raise the bar as you venture into a future that holds only more opportunities for you to explore, grow, and succeed. Congrats, Josh. You deserve it and so much more. I'm very proud of you.
All right, so everyone, as I continue to come back on screen, you may notice me slowly caring less and less about letting you guys see me cry. So Fusion family, this is going to be tough. Thank you, Melissa, for that wonderful speech. Josh, you are so loved here. I hope you know that. Next, we'll bring Maddie Lewis back to the virtual stage with a speech presented by mentor Rishi Sidhu.
Thank you, Justin. It is my pleasure to be here to speak on behalf of Maddie Lewis. So many great speeches, so many awesome students. I wish I had a chance to teach them all, but I'm very happy that I had a chance to teach Maddie. I teach Maddie government and politics and first met her earlier this year. One of the first things I was struck by when I met Maddie is that she actually thinks before she answers. So this may not seem like a big deal, but I think it is actually quite a difficult thing to do. In our society, there is such pressure for us to be quick-witted and always have the right answer. Indeed, I believe the skill of listening is not valued enough, and most people are thinking of what they're going to say, even as the speaker is talking. This pressure is even stronger for students who are literally graded on whether or not they have the right answer. Maddie, however, fully listens, takes her time, and considers the information before coming up with a response. What this has demonstrated to me is that Maddie has learned the skills of thinking critically about something. The goal of teaching the social sciences is in large part to teach exactly that, to think critically about the issues in our society and not to come up with simplified answers that look good as sound bites, but do not lead to any further progress. Maddie came into my classroom with the skill of thinking critically and has shown it in abundance throughout our course. It's not just her curiosity that makes Maddie excel in the classroom. It's really also the fact that she cares about our society and recognizes the role she plays as a citizen in our democracy. Indeed, I believe that it is the value of caring about our democracy and the issues facing it that makes good citizenship. The interesting thing about Maddie is that this passionate side of her is not readily apparent until you get to know her. She spoke about becoming more of an introvert over the pandemic. That's happened to me and to so many others. But when I asked her and I told her I'd talk about her being an introvert, she said, well, I'm an extrovert. But she certainly does have an introverted side. However, do not mistake introversion for a lack of passion. As our class progressed, Maddie would make statements of conviction about issues facing our society. She can speak fluently about statistics that demonstrate the inequality between men and women. Very early on in our class, Maddie mentioned the death of Dante Wright at the hands of the police. Maddie weaved this topic into our conversations about our legal system and very knowledgeably talked about the larger systemic issue of police violence. These discussions about policing and the Black Lives Matter movement became a theme that undergirded our study of government and politics. When it was time to learn about how the Supreme Court works, Maddie learned the role that the Supreme Court played in establishing qualified immunity for police officers. When we learned about how a bill in Congress becomes a law, Maddie educated herself about the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act currently being debated in Congress. And when we learned about how power in the United States is shared between federal, state, and local governments, Maddie enthusiastically took on a research project to learn the limits of the federal government's power to regulate local police departments. And you might blame me for giving all this work, but it's Maddie's inspiration. And if all this sounds super interesting, it is because it is. But what is more amazing is that she independently pursues this research herself. She is a very hard worker and always gives 100, if not 105% to her work. I have had almost zero necessity for motivating or cajoling her to complete assignments. She combines this work ethic with a sincere respect for the topic of study. Even more important to me as a social sciences teacher, the motivation for her hard work comes from the fact that she cares about the issues and goes out of her way to stay informed about them. Maddie is one of my best students. She is eminently ready to enter college and be a productive member of her college community. In addition, Maddie has the qualities of good judgment and responsibility needed to be independent and self-motivated. These qualities are so important for being successful in life, and Maddie has them in abundance. I will miss teaching such a curious and diligent student, but I am happy that Maddie has done so well at FGA and has reached the milestone of graduation. Maddie, I wish you nothing but the best and have full confidence that you will achieve your goals as you start your next chapter.
Beautiful, beautiful speech. FGA without Maddie Lewis feels like Starbucks with no coffee or gaming club on Fridays with no Noah LaFleur. It just doesn't feel right. Doesn't make sense. We'll miss you so much, Maddie. Thank you for your leadership. We love you very much. Next, we would like to present Rebecca O'Reilly with a speech from mentor Asia Minor.
My name is Asia Miner, and I've had the pleasure this year to teach English language arts to Miss Becca O'Reilly. When I first met Becca, I actually just met her forehead. It was the only part of her body she felt comfortable showing. And because I cared about her comfort, I didn't push. I also occasionally got a glimpse of her fabulous nails. They put me to shame. I was always looking at them. She didn't notice in class. They're various and vibrant in color. I loved it. Though I only saw the small outer features in the beginning, I have learned a lot more about her inner features, like her love of family, how her sisters bring smiles to her face, her many, many pets, her interest in design and gaming and Twitch, Scooby-Doo nightmares, and her hopes for college and ideas for new inventions. It's been a true pleasure, Becca. Next year, dear, you'll be a freshman at Ohio State University, a major transition in anyone's life. When I made the transition myself, my mother made me this huge binder filled with all these things she wanted me to remember. One, for example, was regarding my laundry. I remember the words. She said, if you value something, always wash it in cold water. I also remember her saying, never let anyone take away your power. At the time, I didn't quite understood what it meant, but as I've grown up and lived more life, it makes more sense. I have learned that life has its ups and downs. Everyone experiences both. But you lose your power when you get swept away in the ups of life and lose sight of what's important. You can also lose your power when you get stuck in the downs of life. So my wish for you, Becca, as you enter college and begin life as an independent young woman, is to find the people that keep you healthy, happy, safe, and at peace. As I found, this is what helps me keep my power. So Becca, I wish you nothing but the best. Best of luck, dear, and best of luck to all seniors. Thank you.
Never let anyone take your power. Wow, that gave me goosebumps all over my arms. Thank you, Asia. And thank you, Becca, for making this first year at FGA so special. Next up, it is the rowing sensation from Florida who absolutely crushed the dance floor at last week's virtual prom, the lovely and talented Abby Pagert, with a speech from mentor Dee McElhatton.
Hi, Abby. Am I up here? All right. Can everybody see me okay?
Yes, ma'am, you are good to go.
Okay, all right. I am Dee McElhatton, and I am so honored today to have the opportunity to speak about Abby. I thought that I would start with a quote from someone who, at the very beginning of our class, Abby called one of the most famous and prominent philosophers of our time, Madonna. Madonna says, I laugh at myself. I don't take myself completely seriously. I think that's another quality people have to hold on to. You have to laugh, especially at yourself. Over the past semester, I've gotten to know a young woman who has already achieved something that a lot of us grown adults are still figuring out: how to laugh at ourselves, how to find light in our grief. Abby's an old soul. She's steadfast in her beliefs. She's an idealist with a retrospective eye. Abby has the ability to step back from the issues of the world, take them in, realign herself, figure out her purpose within the whole. And as her creative writing teacher, I had the pleasure of witnessing Abby figure out how to put language to those experiences. When we started class, Abby mentioned that the one area of writing that she found overly sentimental and cheesy was poetry, my favorite. By the end of class, Abby, you became a certified poet girl. You were serving up metaphors like cups of coffee at a 24-hour diner. And I might be biased, but I truly believe that people who are willing to explore themselves can all become poets. And Abby, you are no exception to that. For Abby, poetry is moving through water, exploring landscapes, carefully considering the environment around her. She has this ability and keen awareness that there's a way to observe the world with an analytical eye while remaining a near Zen level of non-judgmental. As another one of Abby's teachers put it so beautifully, it's fitting that she'd go on to study marine science because Abby is always able to see what's beneath the surface. All of us have had to overcome our own obstacles in the past year and a half, and Abby has done so with so much humor and so much strength and so much grace. And while many of us were staying locked home in our respective states, Abby's true Sagittarian spirit led her from her home in California to her home in Florida. And in the fall, Abby will call Connecticut her new home as she attends Sacred Heart University. For Abby, the furthest corners of America, California, Florida, Connecticut, are kind of like Pokemon in that she's well on her way to capturing them all. I want to finish this with one last quote from the Queen philosopher Madonna. She says, "I am my own experiment. I am my own work of art. And as you move through life, Abby, I know that you will never stop experimenting with refining your own beliefs, your own ideals, your own aspirations. And as a true Sagittarian, I know that you will go on to explore the world outside of yourself. I hope that you continue to explore the world within yourself too. I hope that you never forget that your life, who you are, is your greatest work of art. Thank you for the honor of letting me be your teacher."
Ooh, okay, team, I feel like I am a virtual melting snowman as I cannot continue to handle these speeches, but we're gonna make it work. I feel like these all need to be framed and hung somewhere in a virtual showcase in our virtual hallways. The speeches themselves have been a work of art. So thank you, Dee, and thank you, Abby. You will be incredibly missed here. Next up, we have FGA's most likely to run a Fortune 500 company while saving the planet and fighting orcs in Middle Earth at the same time, Jack Bell, with a speech from mentor Troy Bernardo.
Hello, everybody. I'm Troy. Here. Okay. When I left for college, my uncle gave me the best advice I've ever received from any family member about my education. It's a piece of advice I still tell seniors every year because I believe it really is the key to graduating. Well, everyone was congratulating me for moving on and finishing high school. My Uncle Kurt pulled me to the side and said, "Troy, please, if you ever listen to one thing I say, just listen to this. Show up for class. I don't care if you stayed up all night or if you want to talk to girls the whole time or if you want to sleep the whole hour, just show up." And that advice seems ridiculous to a lot of people, especially seniors. Of course I'll show up, they think. Why wouldn't I? I paid for these credits after all. But every semester I realized the first week of class, the room was full. And slowly but surely the class would dwindle lower and lower until sometimes it would be under half a dozen of people showing up for a class that originally had 45 students. Now I can say wholeheartedly that while I believe in this advice, I also don't believe that Jack needs to hear it. Jack is a go-getter. He started a small tech business. He's involved in student clubs. He created a whole world for one of his English projects and wrote a fictional religion for that world. People say that 90% of success is showing up, but the other 10% is the hard work. And Jack is the kind of student who doesn't just show up, but does the other 10% more. I've been teaching for over a decade now. It's always bittersweet to see students leave, go on to another school or leave for college. You worry that you could have done better, that you were too hard or too easy on a student. You could have engaged them differently or tried to get to know them a little bit better. Jack's classes always seem to flow organically. And toward the end of class, when I allowed him full range to choose the readings, which by the way, he chose Norse mythology, something I had to do a lot of research on. he didn't shy away from the challenge. We read Ishmael, a book that tries to challenge perspective, and one that Jack enjoyed but pushed back on, pointing out flaws in philosophies and logic throughout the book. He wrote personal essays, tried to find humor in places most of us would struggle with. Most importantly, when a new idea came up in class through our discussions, he wouldn't always dismiss it, but at the very least entertain the idea, to understand it. In such a divided time, we need more people actively listening and trying to understand one another, even if we don't agree. And having empathy and truly engaging with others are Jack's best traits, and ones that I'm sure he will keep developing through and past his education. At the end of the day, I know Jack's biggest problem in college isn't going to be showing up. He'll be showing up for too much. But that's how we get better, trying hard and engaging in new situations, meeting new people, and not being afraid to fail at things like, I don't know, random idea, Norse mythology, for example. This is a graduation to be excited for, because I know Jack will go on to do amazing things, both academically and in the world after. And I cannot wait to see what those things are. So Jack, good luck, and make sure you show up to the first day of class with the same energy you brought to my class. Take it easy. Congratulations, all seniors.
Amazing. Thank you, Troy, and thank you, Jack, for sharing your really special shine with us this year at FGA. Next is one of our newest 12th graders, whom I am so incredibly glad joined us this year and has added so much to our global community. Daniel Veller, with a speech by mentor Roland Tam.
Hello, everyone. To start, I would like to first say that as Daniel's French teacher, I'm very honored to have been given the opportunity to present this speech for Daniel. Dear Daniel, congratulations on making it here today. We are all very proud of you. And by all, I mean me, all your teachers, the FGA staff, your family and friends. From our first class, Daniel, I was impressed right away with your ability to be so well articulated in French, even with advanced concepts. And during class, you always been an active participant. You know, you never shy away from hard work. You're always seeking feedback on how to improve your skills. And that's why you're here today. You've performed just as well with all your classes. I'm sure all your teachers can attest to this. But Daniel, it's not just your technical skills that are impressive, it's also the qualities that you've demonstrated, you know, such as your maturity and confidence, much more, like well beyond your years. I know that like many of your fellow graduates here today, you've had your share of challenges in your high school journey. However, what matters is that you've successfully completed this part of your journey, right? And no doubt in the process, you've developed beautiful qualities such as endurance, resilience, and optimism. Allow these qualities to continue with you and to build in you a strong foundation for your future. I'm confident that with this, you'll make an excellent addition to your college community. You have my highest recommendations. Okay, I might be biased now, but please keep up with your French. You have amazing potential. Also, continue to display that open-mindedness that has allowed you to develop such great language skills. And remember to have fun as you go on in your journey. Not too much fun though. And also remember to rest in between your classes. And of course, do not forget to call home every now and then. I cannot wait to hear about all your future accomplishments. I wish you the best, mon ami. And once again, mes félicitations. Merci.
Two things. I have asked Roland multiple times to record my outgoing voicemail and read my emails to me aloud every single day at the end of the workday because it's the most beautiful speaking voice. Secondly, I feel I got to know Daniel so much better through that speech, which is such a reward in itself on this already special day. So thank you, Roland, and congratulations, Daniel. Next, we have Rocky Mountain legend himself with the most legendary hair, Gavin Brent, with a speech from mentor Ayla Langle.
Hi there. I'm so excited to be giving this speech for an awesome young man, Gavin, who is possibly one of my most challenging students, but in the best way possible. Gavin and I hit it off pretty easily at the beginning of the school year because we discovered that we had a shared interest, or maybe even obsession, fishing. So in class, we frequently swapped some fishing stories, and Gavin would even humor me every now and then as I aligned our fishing bits to our biology content. And pretty quickly, I realized that you really don't have to guess what's on Gavin's mind because he'll tell you exactly what he's thinking, including that he was finding some of our biology content a bit boring. So that's where the challenge came in for me because it became my absolute mission to show Gavin just how awesome biology and science in general actually is. But the problem is, as teachers, science teachers, to explain some concepts, sometimes we have to do what I call putting science in a box. So by that, I mean that in the real world, you might not actually see things working exactly like how it's explained in the textbook. And so you can't put science in a box. And apparently you can't put Gavin Brent in a box either. So our classes were filled with so many challenging questions, like, the what ifs and the whys, the what could be's. And Gavin challenged me to think outside the box right alongside him. And I was preparing my questions preemptively, my answers to his questions, and it challenged me to think outside the box. And I learned so much along the way. So I have a quote that says, "It's been said that being different and thinking different makes a person unforgettable." And it's that very reason that leads me to know that Gavin is truly unforgettable. So goodbyes to students, especially in this time of graduation, can be really tough on teachers because we don't know if or when we're ever going to see or hear about these students ever again. But I'm thoroughly convinced that I'm going to hear the name Gavin Brent again in the future, and I'm going to stand proud knowing that I was part of creating a little bit of that impact that he's going to make on the world. So Gavin, I wish you all the best in your upcoming adventures, and I encourage you to continue thinking outside of the box and asking questions. Also, I encourage you to stay positive no matter what, and know that if you ever make your way back to Florida again, I have some fishing spots for you to try out. So congratulations, all seniors.
I second that. Gavin is entirely unforgettable in the best way possible. You'll be so missed, man. And hopefully someday a few of us can get out to Colorado and you can teach us how to fish and snowboard and maybe even race a pickup truck or two. Next is a senior with whom I have had many a joyous debate, including, as expected and on brand, on the private chat during this very ceremony. A musical talent with incredible views of the world, its inhabitants, and what it means to advocate for human equality. I present Noah LaFleur with a speech from mentor Daniel Zolecki.
All right. Hey, Noah. So I hear that you are denying the fact that you are graduating. So I thought in the warm eggshell raccoon tradition, I might offer you an egg in this trying time, but I cannot even begin to express the joy and the pride that I have in this hypothetical graduation that you are currently going through. As I pull up the emotional ability to express my speech here, I will give it my best shot. Noah LaFleur of House Eggshell White Raccoons in the land of FGA, you are a champion of every epic quality that can be that we describe here at Fusion. For a taste of what every session was like to all of you, in our final session, Noah and I discussed his reflections related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, the crises of the 21st century, the proper way to build a bunk bed within the design functions of The Sims 4, as well as the rise of American capitalism across the world. Every class was a joy and an honor to be a part of. And Noah has always done an incredible job weaving school's personal passion for design and architecture, particularly the incredible cottagecore I present, and who has been a constant light, joy, and honor to teach and converse with in the face of a year like 2020. In our sessions, both government and economics, which we would often fill Noah's Journal of Noahisms with quotes such as, well, the boundary between government and economics doesn't really exist anymore. It's just kind of fugazi, it's fairy dust, it's not real. Noah culminated his learning between classes with a collage summarizing the numerous ages of a multidisciplinary learning that we've discussed and that he's learned about the world that he's going into. It's always weaved into our curriculum this face of accelerating cycles of economic booms and busts, the rise and falls of great governments, the controversies of modern economic policy, and whatever the oncoming self-proclaimed great economic reset is that we discussed ever so frequently. Through all of this emergent troubles and uncertainty of the past year, Noah has maintained not only a dedication to his learning, but a good humor, a hope about the seeming absurdity of the 21st century. Through surgery, college applications, and a pandemic to boot, Noah's never once backed down from a challenge or obstacle, always pushing himself to put in 100%, and most of all, wise enough to know to ask for flexibility when he's needed it. So many people can push themselves beyond their limits, but far fewer have the foresight to give themselves the break necessary for the long haul. No, although this graduation brings your sessions at FGA to a close, I know you have expressed your desire to continue with extracurriculars into the summer, including the gaming club that you were a key leader and founding member of, and a paragon of young leadership amongst the other students, both in session and out. It has been an absolute honor and privilege to get to know you and to work with you these past 2 semesters, both in classes, extracurriculars, in our attempts at in our race, amazing race and survivor runs. I know the warm eggshell raccoons shall continue to thrive in the wilderness as we were left on that island there and became the impromptu rulers. But most of all, I'm glad that we were able to guide and facilitate your path to explore the world. And for this small leg in your future path towards incredible feats and accomplishments. I'm confident this will only be more of a farewell for now than a long goodbye, but I see this graduation as a first of the goodbyes along a wonderful and amazing summer. I know I speak with confidence to speak on behalf of everyone who's had the privilege to get to know you at FGA when I say don't be a stranger. We're here to support your learning journey as you go off into the Honors College and all the amazing things that you're going to do. So congratulations.
Oh, I swear I'm going to follow through with this promise that I made to Noah yesterday, that I'm going to just go in and delete all of the seniors' transcripts so that they have to repeat this year and stay with FGA forever. I'm kidding. Every senior on this call just looked at me with these eyes like, Justin, Indiana isn't that far away. We'll find you. So next we want to present Akira Stein with a pre-recorded speech from mentor Sarah Petter, who is currently overseas.
Akira, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I've been lucky enough to teach you 3 separate courses: Government, US History, and executive functioning skills. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have spent that time with you. For those of you who don't know Akira, she is bright, intensely compassionate, creative, and resilient. In government and US history, Akira has demonstrated a deep commitment to standing up for those who are mistreated or oppressed. Akira is patient, humble, deeply caring, and the love and care she shows for her family and those close to her is a gift. Anyone would be lucky to have a friend like Akira, and I am so lucky to have spent so much time with you this year. Listening to you open up about your passion for film and the impact of growing up surrounded by art and artists has been one of the highlights for me in my time at FGA. Akira lights up when she talks about the artists who have inspired her, the history of film and photography, and her interest in directing. While you are still deciding between pursuing a career in film or as a counselor, I am confident that you have the skills to excel in both. Both require patience and compassion. Both require creative problem-solving skills and reward those who think outside the box. And the world could do with more people like you in both careers. In our executive functioning skills class, we regularly practice goal setting. And most recently, we focused on goal setting for the future, imagining the routes that you might take in life and identifying the many different paths that might get you there. As you enter a more independent stage in your life, it might sometimes feel like you can't see the wood from the trees. In those moments, I want you to think back to our executive skills conversations and remember that there isn't one path to your ambitions or your future. Just try to enjoy the journey. This year, you have shown yourself just how resilient you are. In class, we've talked a lot about the value of being kind to oneself, and that's the advice I leave you with as you continue in life. Always treat yourself with the kindness that you so willingly and unhesitatingly extend to others. Remember how much you've achieved this year. And if there's one last piece of advice I can offer you, it's be proud and be vocal. You have wonderful ideas and an individual perspective that deserves to be heard. So congratulations on graduating, Akira. I wish you all the very best in the future.
Beautiful. And oof, there it is. I know that somewhere, somehow, Sarah can hear us when we say thank you, Sarah. Both Sarah and Akira have made such a positive impact at FGA this year. As we approach our final two mentor speeches, I want to introduce you to the king of swag himself, Miles Revenaugh, with a speech from mentor Dana Stroh-Snyder.
Hi, everyone. I am Dana Stroh-Snyder, and I am so honored and pleased to congratulate Miles on accomplishing this incredible life milestone of graduating high school. Today represents a significant achievement in your life, Miles, and I am so excited to be here to help celebrate all of your success. Reflecting back to the first day that we met, it was just a trial session, and you were exploring different schools to go to as you were unsatisfied with your current school. You had mentioned the obstacles of the quarantine and seemed fairly discouraged when it came to school. Then you made the amazing choice to finish your senior year at FGA. I was lucky enough to have you in your very last ever high school math class, and quickly you evolved into this hardworking student that was so focused on his future. Despite all the hurdles of COVID, you completed this journey with great achievements. I've witnessed you demonstrate stupendous growth this past year, and I could always count on you to enter class with energy and an eagerness to learn. You are easily one of the most curious and well-versed students I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Every time you entered the classroom, you came in ready to share some new knowledge you had, and I always look forward to whatever discussion we would have after that. Whether we talk about your lacrosse, your new job, sports therapy, or even investing, you constantly amaze me with your inquisitive nature. To see you graduating now, I am filled with happiness and excitement for you as you enter this new chapter of your life. I know you excel in your new job as well as any other goals you set out to achieve. Congratulations, Miles, you deserve this, and congratulations to all seniors.
Amazing. Thank you, Dana, and good luck with whatever incredible thing you do next, Miles. And that's it for the mentor speeches. Have a nice weekend. I'm kidding. We do have one more, and I could never leave out the kitten fostering muscle man of FGA, Cayetano Rojas, with a speech by FGA's most alarmingly handsome administrator. Oh, that would be me. So let's see if I can get through this, shall we? All right. There's a quote on my desk that I read every morning before I start work. It reads, "In a world where you can be anything, be kind." This plaque was gifted me by a close friend, and reading it again whilst I wrote this speech, it dawned on me that this quote is entirely flawed. Hear me out. While I sign near every email that I send at FGA with "be kind to one another," and I believe it wholeheartedly, I think it entirely appropriate to change this message to something much more aspirational. Something like, "In a world where you can be anything, be Cayetano Rojas." Cayetano is compassionate, creative, tender-hearted, disciplined, mature, stubborn as a mule, and both mentally and physically strong in all facets of the word. But Tano possesses a quality that few are so naturally gifted in life. You always, always look forward to seeing him. Woo! All right, here we go. We got this. Tano was my only student this year. Though I have taught for years, this one was special as I stepped into a new role for the first time and away from classroom instruction. In the summer of 2020, I jumped in to teach Tano's trial session at FGA, and after that time together, not being his teacher, this year was not an option. That being said, any teacher here today would be lying to you if they said they did not have those days when the doorbell goes off in Zoom and you chug your water and you swallow an entire granola bar whole and you say to yourself, "I got this." Those days where you say, "I love my kids with all my heart, but the coffee is just not strong enough this morning." Keep in mind, Tano and I's class was not factoring equations or researching historical figures, but breaking down new versions of push-ups and challenging one another physically to reach our truest potential as professional fitness coaches. Well, each morning with Tano, when he logged into Zoom, he gave the most rewarding gift to me, the invigorating reminder of why I love being a teacher. Tano's curiosity and brilliance are to be celebrated, sure, but never have I ever met a student who could catapult sarcasm and wit back at me within seconds, leaving me completely at a loss for words, something that anyone who knows me or has spent time in the Global Homework Cafe has rarely experienced. So often, you find that students you hope to inspire are the ones that end up inspiring you, and Tano has inspired me every single day. Your calm positivity complements my spastic optimism. Your smile encourages, your thoughtfulness radiates. Your questions challenged me. Your jokes were annoyingly better than mine. Your silliness and our impromptu discussions about life I will greatly miss, as they are the way that I launched my day every morning for the past year. Your wise opinions and thoughts about our world are exactly what its people are hungry for. I encourage you to keep using your voice. Your gentle power is worthwhile and positive influence on others inevitable. Have faith in it, bro. I hunted for too long to find the perfect way to conclude this speech. And no matter how diligently I scrolled Pinterest or how dedicated I was to trolling coffee table quote books, I always returned to a quote by A.A. Milne that spoke to my heart. How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. So thank you for making this year feel less like teaching and more like spending time with the younger brother I never had. Thanks, Tana. As we near the end of our ceremony, I would like to thank all of our teacher mentors for their powerful words and obviously each incredible senior who inspired them. Next, I would like to introduce the megamind of FGA, who keeps our amazing school running smoothly every day, our lovely Director of Student Development, Erin Farrell. Please note, after concluding the tassel transfer, we will pause with all of the graduates pinned on screen for a brief photo or screenshot opportunity. So parents, grandparents, and friends, get ready. Seniors, after the transfer and Erin speaks, please briefly pause for a photo.
Thank you, Justin. Graduates, we have reached the symbolic moment, and in honor of it, the skies have opened up here in New Jersey with celebratory thunder and lightning, which you may hear. When you shift from high school students to high school graduates, you should feel immensely proud of all that you have achieved, the big things and the small ones, in your entire high school career, but especially over the last year, which did not look the way many of us envisioned it. You have persevered through personal and global challenges to make a place for yourselves. My hope for each of you is that you feel better prepared for your life after high school because of the time you have spent with Fusion. And now I invite our panelists to come off mute, but hold your applause for another moment. And I invite our graduates to move your tassels from right to left. Congratulations, graduates of Fusion Global Academy's class of 2021. And now I would love to see you take those hats, toss them in the air, and celebrate. You guys did it.
Yes, amazing, amazing. We got some good shots. We will get some more from the recording of this amazing moment together. Senior class of 2021, congratulations. This is your day. Live inspired, and above all else, be kind to one another. Thank you for joining us, and have a beautiful remainder of the day.